TIFU by sleeping with my niece. No, I didn't have sex with her, but your reaction to that is why I have a problem. My wife has a niece who goes to college nearby. She comes by for dinner 1-2x a week and stays the night about half the time. It's usually a last-minute decision. She'll stay if she's tired or if she's had drinks. We have 2 guest bedrooms, one is at the other end of the house from ours. It has its own bath and is nicer. Guests, including the niece, usually stay in there. The second bedroom is next to ours and usually only gets used when the nicer one is already occupied. It also gets used by me frequently when my wife snores. Last night the niece comes by, we have dinner and wine. I go to bed early and they're still chatting. I wake up around 1 a.m. because the wife is snoring. Half asleep, I stumble into the guest room and fall asleep. I wake up about an hour ago and realize my niece is in the bed too. I guess she decided to stay, but why she used this room I don't know. She's never used it before. I quickly exited the room and am now drinking coffee and wondering how I'm going to deal with this. The bed's a king and has one of those isolating mattresses where you aren't supposed to feel movement from someone else. I also sleep pretty calmly, a habit I learned in the military. So she probably never knew I was there, but I feel I need to at least mention it to my wife. This is a place where the cover-up might be worse than the hit. Then again, that might lead to another TIFU later. TLDR, I unknowingly got into the bed where my niece was sleeping and now I gotta tell my wife. Update: hey, sorry for the delay, the post got locked and I didn't know I could edit. I told my wife that morning when she got up and she was mortified at herself. She meant to tell me that niece was sleeping in there, but they both got drunk and forgot. She told me she hoped I forgave her, which is not where I thought this was going. If you explain to your wife exactly as you stated it here, you might be surprised at how much of a non-issue it turns out to be. The bed's a king and has one of those isolating mattresses where you aren't supposed to feel movement from someone else. Dude, what's the brand of this mattress? Because I seriously need this one, at least for once in my life I want to experience this feeling. OBTW, just tell your wife everything and you'll be fine. Hide it from your wife and act weird around your niece. Sleeping next to your niece. Dude, the fact that you're even contemplating telling your wife should mean something. This isn't a matter of your guilty conscience. This is absolutely an I can explain moment, true, but because it is awkward. Trust me, once you tell your wife, you'd be laughing your heads off with the hilarity of the situation. It's not weird unless you make it weird. Don't make it weird. It probably won't be as bad as you think it will be. It happened to me when I was younger. Nothing happened at all. He literally stumbled in and fell asleep, not even realizing I was on the bed, and I just snuck out of the room and slept in the living room cause it felt weird to knowingly sleep next to him, lol. He apologized in the morning when he realized where he had been, and his wife admitted that's the room he goes to when they fight, so he must have gone there in the middle of the night. Lamau. Definitely fine as long as your explanation is proactive and not after they have discussed it among themselves. How does one learn how to sleep calmly? What is that learning experience like? It's only weird if you make it weird. Accidents happen. Considering what I thought this post was about, this is so low stakes it's not even funny. Accumulate, but if you're still panicking, or for anyone else who finds themselves in a similar situation, joke about it. Say to your wife something like, OBTW hun, I stumbled into the other bedroom in the middle of the night and it turns out niece name decided to sleep I'm there too, as I found out this morning nearly gave me a heart attack. Any updates, dude? Today OP received karma for a misleading title. How do you know she didn't get into the bed after you were there? Honestly, this is an odd thing to be concerned about. I can't imagine my wife hearing this story and suddenly thinking it was anything more than what happened. You didn't fuck up. This is making an issue out of nothing. If you feel like you need to explain it, just explain it how you did here. What a clickbait. Own up immediately and laugh about it. Do not make this a Seinfeld episode. Treating it like a big deal makes it a big deal. Treating it like a joke makes you an asshole. Go with "Hey, I don't want to feel weird if this repeats. How do we make sure niece uses the other bedroom in future?" Puts you on the same side of the non-problem. "No, I didn't have sex with her." Well, make something up. This is literally nothing to fret. Unless you have ulterior actions or something you're not telling us, then why TF are you fretting so much? More or less, why feel a forced need to tell your wife? I feel rickrolled but overall relieved. Yay, this seems like you're making a mountain out of a molehill. They might even laugh about it. For God's sake, change the title to "Accidentally Shared Bed" rather than using the word "sleeping." This is totally okay and innocent. I would also explain it to the niece just in case she did notice but felt uncomfortable saying or doing anything. Just tell your wife Lamo it's an honest mistake. But don't start with "Oh, by the way honey, I slept with my niece last night." Probably wouldn't go down too well. I am missing the problem here. TIFU by posting this here. The way it is described here sounds perfectly innocent, as long as your wife never felt she had a reason to be suspicious or jealous of you before. Because if the seed of doubt has been planted in any way in her mind, regardless if it had any merit or not, then admitting to such mundane silly misunderstanding, might possibly push her into unreasonable conclusions. I've seen wives getting jealous at their man by virtue of him simply mentioning another woman in a conversation. Never know. This doesn't seem like much of a fu. You tell your wife you were sleeping in the guest bed and you woke up and your niece was next to you, and so you got up so nobody thought there was any funny business going on and that you wanted to tell her so it doesn't look like you were up to no good and trying to hide something. Unless your wife is absolutely crazy and will jump to thinking you're having an affair with your niece and for some reason telling her about it, she'll understand. If it were my wife, she'd make fun of me for making a big deal out of it. You can tell the niece is super hot by how nervous OP is about telling his wife, lol. Shit happens, just tell her. We have to talk about your snoring. Focus on the real issue. This reads like a damage control alibi post to point to later. Plot twist: bed was empty when you got into it. Both of my brother-in-laws have each, on completely separate occasions, drunkenly stumbled into my mom's room thinking it was the guest room. One just fell asleep in the bed. The other made a move on her thinking it was his wife, my sister, and she woke up screaming. Each time my entire family thought it was fucking hilarious and we still give them shit for it. Tell your wife and let her make fun of you. It's not a big deal. It seems like you're making it weirder than it actually is. Be honest right away. Do not let your niece be the first to tell the story. Honestly, don't see the problem. Maybe it's just me, but sleeping next to someone is no big deal as long as they don't try and bash your skull in the middle of the night. So I totally forgot your niece was here last night. I went to go sleep in the second bedroom and woke up around 5 a.m. to someone moving around in the bed.